Imagine a shark with a mouth that could swallow a human whole, or a saber-toothed predator whose claws could tear through bone like paper. Hard to believe, right? But what if I told you Earth once hosted even deadlier animals? Monsters so fierce that entire herds of prey would flee at the mere sight of them? Seems unbelievable, right? But what if I told you that Earth has seen even more terrifying creatures? Animals so dangerous that they could crush, slice, or devour almost anything in their path. This video dives into the most dangerous animals that ever lived. Some long extinct, others rumored to survive in hidden corners of the world. These were not ordinary predators, they were enormous, powerful, and deadly. This is part 1 of the series, and the response to earlier episodes has been incredible. Watch closely, because the stories ahead sit right on the edge of myth, science, and reality. Number 1. Giant Ape, Gigantopithecus. In ancient Asia, there are stories about a massive ape that may have inspired legends of mysterious giants. According to fossil evidence, this creature, known as Gigantopithecus blacki, could stand nearly 3 meters tall and weigh several hundred kilograms, making it the biggest ape that ever lived. People would have been struck by its enormous teeth and powerful jaws, built to grind tough, gritty plants and bamboo, and its presence in warm, forested environments where it fed on whatever greenery it could find. For centuries, the creature was only known through myths and stories, partly fueled by the scarcity of fossils. Just teeth and a few jaw fragments recovered across southern China, Vietnam, and India. Now, scientists estimate its size by comparing these fragments with living apes, which is why the exact numbers can vary. Despite modern tales linking it to Bigfoot, giant ape was an Asian ape, not a surviving mysterious primate. Its massive size meant slow reproduction and a vulnerability to environmental changes. Shrinking forests and declining fruit supplies would have pushed this gentle giant past a tipping point, sealing its extinction. But before it disappeared completely, early humans may have crossed paths with it, and those encounters could explain later myths. If faint fossil traces can create whole legends, wait until you hear about a bird that hunted like a sky predator. Number 2. Haast's eagle, Harpagornis moray. Across New Zealand, there are long-standing tales of a giant raptor that once ruled the skies. It is often described as an enormous bird with massive wings, deadly talons, and a hooked beak, and stories claim it could strike and kill prey far heavier than itself. However, prehistoric records reveal that an animal called Haast's eagle, or Harpagornis moray, once soared above the forests and river valleys of this region. This species lived until roughly 500 to 600 years ago, had a wingspan close to 3 meters, and adult females weighed between 15 and 18 kilograms. Skeletal reconstructions show stout, muscular legs, enormous talons, and a heavy, hooked bill, traits strikingly similar to those described in the myths. Although scientists classify Haast's eagle as extinct, its extraordinary hunting abilities and the dramatic stories passed down keep the legend alive even today. And yet, some of those stories go further, describing attacks that sound exactly like a bird built for killing. If an eagle could take down large prey, the next entry shows a sea hunter with a jaw built like a pair of scissors. Number 3. Scissor-toothed shark, Adestus. One of the most fascinating legends comes from ancient seas, where stories describe a creature with razor-sharp, scissor-like jaws that could slice through anything in its path. It is said to be powerful, dangerous, and unlike any predator known today, and tales of such fearsome hunters appear in accounts from multiple coastal cultures. What makes this legend especially intriguing is that prehistoric history reveals the existence of Adestus, a shark that lived around 290 to 250 million years ago. Its whorls formed a continuous arc, a true scissor of teeth. And paired with powerful neck and jaw muscles, they could slice prey in a single violent motion. Size estimates vary by species, but some Adestus swam warm seas and probably hunted fish and soft-bodied animals, though its dental gear could handle tougher targets too. Fossilized tooth whorls show a repeated scissor pattern, giving direct evidence for a slicing feeding action rather than the biting seen in modern sharks. Seas held creatures built for slicing. Next up is a snake so large it redefined what a predator could be. Number 4. Titanic boa, Titanoboa. Titanoboa or Titanic boa holds the record as the largest snake ever known, discovered in Colombia within the Carrion coal mine deposits. Yet fossil vertebrae and partial skeletons point to lengths of roughly 12 to 15 meters, or 40 to 50 feet, with a thick, heavy body that some estimates place close to a ton in weight. This snake lived during the Paleocene, not long after the dinosaurs disappeared, in a hot, swampy rainforest environment. Its extreme size fits closely with climate limits. Warmer conditions allow cold-blooded animals to grow much larger, and the Paleocene tropics provided exactly that kind of heat and humidity. The structure of its teeth and vertebrae shows it was a constrictor, feeding on large fish, turtle species with thick shells, and crocodile-like reptiles. Its massive body also meant it could go long stretches between meals, relying on stored energy. These fossils gave scientists a direct link between ancient climate, rainforest ecosystems, and just how large reptiles can grow when heat and moisture stay high for long periods of time. Paleoclimate reconstructions match the size estimates, showing that warmer Paleocene temperatures plausibly allowed snakes to reach 12 to 15 meters and weights approaching a ton. If you think that's big, imagine a 25-foot fish that could eat massive prehistoric turtles. Number 5. Devonian armored fish, Dunkleosteus. Devonian armored fish, or Dunkleosteus terrelli, was a placoderm fish, wrapped in thick armor across its head and front body, cruising the seas during the late Devonian, roughly 358 to 382 million years ago. Its skull and jaw plates worked as a rapid, high-power biting system. Biomechanical studies show the jaws could open in as little as 20 milliseconds and snap shut with crushing force. They're strong enough to break armor and split thick shells. Instead of true teeth, its mouth carried sharp, bony plates that worked like cutting blades. The largest estimates put Devonian armored fish at around 6 to 8 meters long, or 20 to 26 feet, and bite force studies rank it among the strongest of any fish ever known. Fast, heavily protected, and built to cut straight through defenses, it was a true armored killing machine of the ancient seas. And this is where the fossil evidence gives us a rare glimpse of a top predator that left little alive in its wake. Jaw mechanics tests and bite-marked fossils confirm Dunkleosteus could shear armor and crush bones, placing it at the top of its food chain. Before we saw crushing jaws, early oceans were ruled by grasping hunters like the anomalous shrimp. Number 6. Anomalous shrimp, Anomalocaris. Anomalocaris, or anomalous shrimp, was one of the most recognizable predators of the Cambrian seas. It belonged to a group called radiodonts and had a round, disc-shaped mouth lined with tooth-like plates, along with a pair of spiny front appendages used to grab prey. Fossils from the Burgess Shale and similar sites show that some species grew surprisingly large for the time, with estimates putting them at over a meter long. Those long, jointed appendages made it an effective hunter in oceans filled mostly with small animals. For its era, Anomalocaris sat near the top of the food chain, a fast, grasping predator in a world of tiny creatures, shaping Cambrian ecosystems even if it wasn't the shell-smashing monster people once imagined. Surprisingly, as new specimens appear, its role keeps becoming clearer, and in some ways, stranger than early ideas suggested. At over a meter, its appendages and mouth plates give direct functional evidence that it was an active predator, not just a scavenger. The Cambrian also spawned bulky, weird forms on the seafloor. The next creature looked like a small, armored ship. Number 7. Titanocaris gainesi, or mothership Titanocaris, comes from the Cambrian period and is known thanks to exceptionally well-preserved fossils from the Burgess Shale. At around half a meter long, it stood out in a world mostly filled with small, soft-bodied animals. Its size alone made it one of the biggest creatures in its ecosystem. But its shape tells the real story. The animal had a large, domed dorsal carapace and broad frontal appendages, pointing to a slow-moving predator or a sediment sifter rather than a fast attacker. Those appendages likely swept along the seafloor, gathering prey, while its mouth, a circular structure lined with plates, processed small organisms. Instead of crushing or tearing, this setup worked best for probing, filtering, and trapping food. That odd setup made it a serious player on the seafloor, and it shows how different Cambrian ecosystems really were. If odd giants prowled the seafloor, the land also produced dominant runners like the terror birds that followed. Number 8. Ferocious. Ferocious longissimus was part of the so-called terror birds, a group of large, flightless hunters that ruled parts of South America during the Cenozoic. Ferocious itself likely stood around 2 to 3 meters tall. It carried a heavy, hooked beak and thick neck muscles built for force. Fossils from Argentina show strong leg bones made for speed and a skull shaped to deliver crushing blows. A strike from its head could break the bones of its prey. These birds hunted on foot. They ran prey down, then used the beak to kill or disable with repeated, powerful hits. In places where large mammal predators were absent, phorusracids took the top role in the food chain. Their presence influenced how prey species evolved and how local ecosystems worked. Some lived alongside early mammals and other predators, but changes in climate, habitat, or the loss of large prey likely pushed them into decline. But before that decline, these birds were dominant. A single hit from their beak could end a large animal's run.